Good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. And this afternoon, I wanted to have this conversation about, is this the right time to buy a home? We understand that the real estate market, and when I say real estate, I don't mean housing market. The real estate market is very hot for real estate agents, brokers, as well as real estate investors, but not so much for the customer. The market is not as hot as for you because you're trying to buy your first home. Maybe this is your second or third home, but nonetheless, the market is super hot. And you're trying to figure out, is this the right time for you to go out and buy a home that possibly to cost you $250,000, but now that home is $350,000. So anyway, you guys are interested in buying a home, and currently we understand that the market, with so many things that are going on, that are indicators for people to go out and buy large or either their dream home. Wall Street owns over hundreds of thousands of homes. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of reports, a lot of news, a lot of things that's been coming out to let you know that Wall Street are the ones that are essentially selling you your home if it's not a private seller of some sort or some sort of real estate investment group. And what's occurring right now, there's a, you know how they were talking about the great resignation where people are being laid off, but there's a great migration. There's a lot of people from the state of Washington, Oregon, California, as well as New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania. All of those people who lived in the Pacific Northwest and also on the East Coast are now moving south. They're moving to places like the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Louisiana. They're moving all to the south, and the property value of homes in the south are increasing exponentially, where now is becoming more expensive for people to move to the south. It's becoming more expensive for people to live in the south, believe it or not. So essentially, moving to the south, using your hardworking money to buy your dream home, that dream is depleting, is decreasing, is deleting each and every second because there's a great migration that's going on. So everyone is telling you now is the time to buy. Now is the time to go out and buy a house because interest rates are astronomically low. That is correct. Currently, my interest rate is 2.25%. That's my current interest rate on my home. Okay. So there's proof that, yeah, interest rate are less than 3%, but there are other associated costs in buying a home. Like you have to pay for your inspection fee, your appraisal fee. There's other associated costs for you guys to go out and purchase a home. There's a little thing called PMI, private mortgage insurance, where if you didn't put down 20% on your home, it's an additional cost that sometimes they roll that up either into your monthly amount or into your APR for you to pay that. So your house monthly mortgage increases maybe anywhere from $100 to $200. Now, if you have an FHA loan where your interest rate may be anywhere from 2 to 5%, there are certain things that you can do to get rid of PMI, but it's astronomically difficult for you guys to get rid of PMI unless you go with a federal loan. Now, so the question you're saying is, am I trying to discourage buyers or sellers of getting into the market? No, I want to give you the information because right now I feel that you guys are being persuaded and sometimes even manipulated to go out and buy a home and you're not ready to buy one. That's the first thing. The second thing is, this is not the time. And in my very humble opinion, and now I do a lot of contradictions because that's what I believe we are. We are all contradicting. When we have new insight, when we have new thoughts, when we get new information, we contradict something we said a year ago, a month ago, a day ago, an hour ago, because you didn't know at the time. So I really sat down and I thought about this for a very long time. I said, okay, yeah. There's a lot of federal government entities that are assisting people to go in and buying their first home, but houses are a lot more expensive. Case in point, we bought this home here for $400,000. This house right now, if you were to come to buy this house at fair market value, it will cost you $560,000. You will be paying $160,000 more so in 1 year. We understand that appreciation value because homes are appreciating assets. So over the course of time, houses are going to become more valuable, meaning you make more money on the sale. Contrary to popular belief, I only been in this home like a year and a half, almost 2 years, and it has raised $160,000 in value. We've actually had people come through the neighborhood, whether it be real estate investors, real estate agents, or brokers, say, "Are you interested in selling your home?" No, I just unpacked everything. I am not ready to move out. But the other side of that, there's been a lot of people from my neighborhood to move out and cash in on that extra value. But here's the thing. If they're telling you this is a seller's market, then that means if you have a home and you sell your home, then what are you now? That means that you're a buyer. The reason why they say this is a seller's market is because if you sell your home, you're going to get top dollar for your home. And in most cases, a lot of people are moving from California to Texas, especially a lot of these tech companies are coming to move into Austin and in Dallas and Houston. I think Oracle as well as Tesla, I believe, Oracle and Tesla move out into Austin. So the property value in Austin, again, has raised exponentially. It has almost tripled in price over the past 5 years just for those companies saying that they're moving. And Oracle has already moved to Austin. So Austin's going to be the new tech giant. The reason why a lot of companies are getting to California because California is just becoming very expensive to live. Now, here's another thing in the competitive buying market that you guys would be in if you're in the market of trying to buy a home. If you're moving from New York, if you're moving from California, if you're moving from DC, my hometown, then the homes in those places are worth $1 million. Okay, are worth $1 million. So essentially, depending on how much money they made from their sale, and most of them are coming to Texas, they're coming to Louisiana as well as Florida with 800,000 liquid cash because they bought that home or that home was inherited and they only bought that home maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago for 400,000. So they're almost made triple of the value of that home just by selling in the market. When they moved to Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, the Carolinas, they're paying $50,000 to $100,000 over asking price. Case in point, I had a neighbor 3 doors down, no pun intended, that's a group. 3 doors down, his house was listed for $500,000. They got into a bidding war with another family, and that house sold for $560,000. Now, take, for instance, he bought this home 5 years ago for $370,000. So we have to figure out the interest rate and how much compound interest worked against them. How much was his monthly payments? Was he paying twice a month versus once a month? Whether it be the original mortgage price or not. All these are factors of how you can slice down your mortgage monthly amount. Because I can give you guys some strategies for that as well. But the point I'm making is how much did he have left on his mortgage? And how much profit did he receive? But nonetheless, he bought the home for $370,000. And then when he sold it, he received $560,000. I'm pretty sure a good chunk of that went to pay off the rest of the loan. So the question is, are you guys ready to get into the market and pay double the price for a home if everything like the pandemic and housing crisis are going on? Supposedly there's a population increase that is also causing for the housing boom. Like in my neighborhood alone, they have built in tandem 2 more neighborhoods because of the influx of people from California, Oregon, as well as Washington. They're expecting an influx of people. They're also increasing the infrastructure. They're building new roads, bridges, side roads, etc. Now, essentially, if you didn't get in the market prior pandemic, then you're going to be paying too much money for that home, in my opinion. Now, there is no market indicators of the market cooling off. We're talking about they believing that year 2022, houses going to go up even more than what they are now. The housing market is expecting to remain very, very strong. And where people are working from home now, a lot of people are factoring 50, 60 bucks saying, well, I'm going to be working from home. I don't have to pay for a constant oil change or gas or the amount of I would pay out to go get coffee. I'll make it at home or lunch if I forget my lunch. All of these things you can do right at your house for much cheaper prices. So some people working from home are saving anywhere from $200 to $500 a month just by working from home. So they are factoring in that price when they're going into buying a home. And now people can move anywhere. So Californians and New Yorkers who were going into the office, they say, hey, we're moving everyone to their house permanently. We're not expecting to rent any more office space. That was a waste of money. The pandemic has changed our mind. We're going to wear a new business structure. Everybody's working from home. Everybody's working virtually. You're going to be using Google Meet and Microsoft Teams and Zoom and etc. You're going to be using all these things. So now there's a free up of cash, and so bonuses are higher because they can afford to, because they don't have to pay out of office space. So I want you to kind of look this situation in totality, because I know a lot of you're tired of your condo, you're tired of your apartment, you're tired of your trailer park, you're tired of living with a significant other, a parent, an aunt or uncle or sister, brother. You're just tired. You want your own place, and the next place you want is a home. The next place you want is your own house. But the point is, even though the interest rates are low, is it still worth paying for a home for almost double the price? Now, there are some other things that I popped up here I want you guys to take a look at, because these are the things that are invisible killers to your purse, to your wallet, that a lot of people don't think about when they're moving to particular places and of paying the amount that they will pay for a home, so to speak. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we talked about inflation before. So as you can tell here, inflation has grown triple, if not quadruple, in the amount of percentage in this 1 year, around 5%. But I tell you, the national regional percentage rate for inflation is around 5.6 to 6.2. Okay, 5.6 to 6.2. So if you're not factoring in inflation, then you're not understanding how much your dollar is actually worth. So if you have a dollar, just do the math, take 6% away from that dollar. Take 6% away from that dollar. So essentially, your cash is depreciating from your very eyes. Of course, a lot of this has to do with the national debt. I think we're over 28 to 29 trillion dollars right now. These are some of the things that you guys have to essentially understand. Now, the current interest rates for home buying is anywhere from 2 to 3% if you get an FHA loan. Okay. Now, nationally, and those are fixed prices with FHA, but conventional, they can even go down to 1% on an adjustable rate mortgage, which you never want unless you buy a home and you are only staying there for the time that's on your contract before your arm actually gets crazy. And what I mean is, they say, okay, we're going to get you an arm rate for 2 years at 1%. And you know that you're going to move in less than 2 years, then the arm can be safe. But if you don't know if you're going to move in 1 to 5 years, your best bet is to go ahead and get a fixed mortgage. And this is if you're a motivated buyer, regardless how much homes cost right now, that you still want to buy a home. If I were you, if you don't have a if you don't have a mapped out plan of how long you're going to stay in a particular place, get yourself a fixed mortgage. Now, if you can also afford this, which is a lot more tangible than a 30-year fix, get a 15-year fix. Think about it like this. If you are 30 years of age and you go out and buy a home with a 15-year mortgage, that means by the age of 45, you will own your home. And there again, there's a lot of tips and tricks I can tell you guys of how to essentially cut that 15 years down to 7 years. But just think, at 30, at the age of 45, you're not 50, 60, you're not a baby. No, you are still a young person at the young and youthful age of 45, and you own your home already. So that's what I would be looking for. I think a lot more people would be owning smaller homes if we all went to 15-year mortgages. Okay. I'm just popping up some of my notes here because I think this is important that when you look at the amount that you're paying for a home, these are the cost of home buyers. You have your appraisal fee anywhere from $300 to $600. You have your inspection fee that varies from city and state from $300 to $500. You have your homeowner's insurance. That's $1,200 a year plus. Also property tax. Also property tax. Now let me give you some insight more so. Okay, let me give you a little bit more insight before I read some of your comments. You buy at home at $400,000 and your interest rate, let's just say it's at 3.25. That's a happy medium. Let's say your interest rate is at 3.25. And once you factor in your property tax, roughly how much you think will your monthly mortgage be? Okay. Like, you know what? As a matter of fact, let's factor in property tax and let's factor in homeowners insurance. So now you have property tax, homeowners insurance, and also your mortgage. They combine those three. And wait, if you're not paying at least 20% down on the home, let me break that down. So if your home is $100,000 and you have to pay 20% on $100,000, do you know you have to have $20,000 in order to avoid PMI? Now, there's many of people say, okay, you got to at least give us 8%. But in order to avoid PMI, you have to put down 20%. So just for this example, we're going to factor in your mortgage, your property tax, and homeowners insurance. We're going to say we put down the $20,000. How much do you think that your mortgage would be each and every month? Anyone can just guess based on the very rough and simple numbers I gave you? Well, let me tell you, your monthly mortgage would be anywhere from $25,000 to $3,000 a month. Your monthly amount will be anywhere from $25,000 to $3,000 a month, from $2,500 to $3,000 per month. And that's on a home that's $400,000. So again, even though the market is hot and it's a seller's market, meaning that the seller of that home is going to get top dollar for their home, the question that you should still have is this the right time for me to buy? But there are some other things and other options that I can give you guys some advice. Now, some of you are not going to take this too easy, but that's okay. It's still an option. What about if you and one of your friends can go out and buy a home together? What about brothers? What about sisters? What about siblings? Is it possible for you guys to go out and buy your first home together and then wait 3 to 4 years when you really establish your life and then take the profit, take the proceeds of selling that home and then go out and buy your own different homes? That's an idea. Can we live with them for 3 to 5 years now that we're mature adults? Is this possible? Do you have a good friend that you can trust, that you guys get along? Some of you guys have the same characteristics. Y'all both like a clean home, right? You guys both respect each other's spaces. Is it possible? Because if you're trying to buy a home right now, ladies and gentlemen, you have to have some buku dollars to get into the market. See, this is great for Wall Street because, again, as I told you in the beginning, they own different Wall Street organizations and businesses own 10 to 100,000 homes across America, and they're loving the bidding war. They're profiting. I wonder who started the housing crisis back in 2009. Think it begins with wall, think it ends with street. But nonetheless, they know how to reinvent themselves to continue to make millions and billions of dollars. So I know a family, they actually sold their home, pocketed the money, and they're living in an apartment. I said, well, you're in a condo? No, we're just gonna live in an apartment. We're gonna ride this thing out. And I started thinking about renting, not for me, but now you're paying into someone else being rich and you getting nothing from it. I don't know the strategy there, right? If I'm already in a home and selling my home just to profit, and then you're going to use that money and not build any equity inside of a rental home, that makes no sense to me. If anything, I would do is possibly refinance my loan because of the low interest rates. Okay. Because of the low interest rate, I will refinance my home and get some money back. And I'll probably use the kickback of cash that I'll get from refinances to renovate or upgrade some things in my home, or throw that back on a loan so I can kill the compound interest over time. These things are very important for you to understand, family, because I know there's a lot of motivators right now for you guys to go out and buy a home. And believe me, I'm the biggest advocate for you to own a home, but I just want you to sit back and think about it. But here's the thing. With the very basic math I've given you here today, is it possible for you to start saving like you're living in a home already? See, we just talked about the home prices. We talked about the inspection, the appraisal, the property tax, the homeowner insurance, the mortgage, the PMI. We didn't even get to utilities. Oh, yeah. Now, where I'm from, there's some places in Washington, D.C. where all utilities are included for the rent price. So if you're paying, let's say you got a one-bedroom apartment at $1,500, say all utilities included. That means your sewer, water, electricity, if you got gas, so on and so forth. But in a home, we already broken down the associated cost of buying the home and maintaining the home just by having it. But what about the functionalities of the home? Like in this house here, we pay gas, we pay electric, we pay sewer, and we pay garbage, and we pay who knows what else we pay. And then you have to also add, if you have Netflix, cell phone, we have a home defense people who come and spray for bugs, and the bills can add up very, very quickly. Okay. The bills can add up very, very quickly. Just last year, I told myself, I'm going to save myself $500 and cut my own damn grass. Okay. Because when I first moved here, I didn't have a lawnmower. They say, oh, there's someone's in the neighborhood who's cutting grass for $25. I say, oh, they cut, edge, and blow. I say, oh, that's pretty cool. So that's cheap, right? So I'm paying at the end of the year. I'm looking at my account. I'm rolling up, all my expenses. I'm like, I paid $500 for someone to cut my damn grass. No. So I went out, bought me an edger, bought me a lawnmower, and I cut my own grass. Now, I know that's common sense. I know a lot of people do that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of costs when it comes to maintaining a home. It really does. A lot of things in your home, no matter how old the house is, it could be a brand new house, but if you're outside that home warranty, those things you're gonna have to come out of pocket. And here's another thing. You also want appliance insurance. Like, take for instance, your dishwasher breaks down. If you're not paying an insurance company with a small deductible, then you're gonna have to come out anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to replace your dishwasher or your washer and dryer. This is not like an apartment building where you can just go downstairs in the basement and wash your clothes or go to the nearest. No. When you live in a community, when you live in a neighborhood, you want to wash and dry in your home. So you have to purchase that. Okay. Then there's associated price with that. Then irrigation with sprinklers, keeping your grass afloat. Maybe you're under a HOA. When you talk about HOA prices, right? Homeowners associated price. And that varies from city and state. Some people may pay $100 all year. Some people may pay $300 to $400 a month and homeowners insurance on top of all the other bills that you guys have. So essentially, you guys really need to think about, is this the right time for you to buy a home? I can't tell you where you are financially, but what I can tell you is, have you factored in everything that I've spoken here about today? Have you went through an entire list of all the associated costs from essentially looking for a home, buying a home, and maintaining a home? Ladies and gentlemen, just because you paid for an apartment, just because you paid for an apartment rent and or water, and maybe you even paid electric, it is totally different than maintaining a house. And I don't care how big the house is. Your wood floors may need to be redone. Your cabinets may be falling off. You need someone to come in and fix it, or you may try to fix it yourself. Like I installed a garbage disposal about 2 weeks ago because the old garbage disposal was going out. It really just clunked out. So I went in Home Depot, looked at a YouTube video, and saw that. I'm about to say something wrong, but I installed it myself. And there's a lot of things you can do yourself, but ladies and gentlemen, there's some things you just don't know how to do. You're not a carpenter. Okay. A lot of us are not carpenters. So yeah, you can look at the video, you can take a course, but most of us are going to get someone to do it. So I really want you to think about everything I've said here today, and to make sure when you go out and buy a home, whether it be by yourself, your significant other, or with whoever it may be, that you guys are making the right decision for you. One more thing. I want you guys to start living like you are ready to buy a home. What does that mean? If you rewind back maybe about 5 minutes, we kind of went over all the associated price of having a home and also maintain it. I want you guys to write that down. And I want you to research within your region, within your state, maybe your city, of what's the average cost? What's the average operating cost? What is the baseline amount that people pay per month in my area? And then I want you to start to comb through your budget to see if that money is available. And if it is, that's the chunk of money I want you to save every month. Don't invest it. I want you to save it every month. So if you get into the market of buying a home and maybe you don't qualify for FHA, you're going to have to go the conventional route. Then you may have enough money to avoid PMI, but nonetheless, you'll have enough money to avoid PMI, put a good chunk down on your home, buy appliances, furniture, etc. Whatever it may be, depending on how long, whether it be a year to 5 years, that you guys will be ready to buy that home and be financially stable in order to do so. All right, let me see what you guys are talking about before I get out of here for today. Oh, Miss Curly Girl, how you doing? Nice to see you here today. She states here that it was valuable information being shared here today. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. 200 to 500 is a lot of savings. Indeed, it is. And she also states that she's thinking about a 15-year mortgage, which is the right and most important decision you will ever make in your life. Very, very smart decision, sister. I think a lot of times we look at someone's house size, but we don't look at how much they're paying for that home. Because here's the thing, right? And I've said this before. The only reason why my wife and I bought this large home at 4,000 square feet, and there's only 3 of us, is because we got it at such a discounted amount pre-pandemic. I mean, 390. Now this home is worth 560. I mean, it was a no-brainer at the time, but I didn't know that the increase of value will grow and double, almost double. Well, not double, but a third of it has increased in 1 year. So I was lucky, but I want you guys to be smart and not lucky. But if we ever to move, believe me, it would be in a 1-story and probably a smaller home. You guys have a great and wonderful day. This is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired.